Alright, it is foreshadowed. It was foreshadowed in the previous episode, something I forgot. And now it's foreshadowed even more. You know, I have talked about before that Vandal is slowly driving the League apart. And this episode makes it perfectly clear that yes, they are slowly driving apart. Just like Vandal wanted. Because in the previous episode, I forgot to mention something. When the outsider team were having, a barbecue or whatever, they talked about, Brion talked about the fact that he always wonder what happened if Batman and Superman fought. But the other senior members thought that is impossible. And that's just it. What if Batman and Superman fought? Because Batman is keeping Superman outside of this loop. Because even though he has quit the Justice League, a selected few is still working with Batman in the dark. Basically, they are the darkness. I fear the Justice League are heading into a very dangerous zone. This is the Young Justice episode 8, Triptych. And by the way, it was a good episode, but there's some things here that actually makes me say, what? Well, either way, what makes this episode pretty good is that we see different scenarios of different characters, so to speak. And each and every one in the very end of the episode is brought together for clarity. It starts with Nightwing meeting up with Oracle, explaining his side of the story. When the Shade, Livewire, yes, she is in this series, and Mist, all try to take some kind of device, and as Cheshire was helping, then suddenly they were stopped by Jim Harper, who is a security in that place. The outsider team tried to fight them off, and by the way, Mist managed to knock down Nightwing. You know, I hate the fact that Nightwing is so nerfed in Young Justice. That is one of the few things that I can complain about through the series. But the Outsiders team work pretty well together. Very well indeed. Oh yeah, and Geoforce got his name last time. He was thinking of Hotspot or whatever. But his name is now Geoforce. And they stop the other teams, although Shade gets away. Then we're switching to another scene where Batman meets up with his sidekick of Tim Drake. Team Super Normal. You know, the other teams that quit the league. Tim Drake, spoilers, Arrowette. Oh, and by the way, a 4 girl who I have no idea who she is. I think she's called Orphan. She gets very strong Batman vibes from me, but also something else. I mean, I was gonna say Raven, but that's not right. She appears to be silent, but she reminds me a lot of a League of Shadows assassin. So I just wonder, what is going on here? Well, either way, Tim Drake tracked down Mad Hatter, who is revealed to be controlling Clayface, who gets back to the base where Mad Hatter is actually experimenting on a mysterious guy that looks pretty familiar. But in the end, Team Normal managed to stop that. Although Mad Hatter escapes with the subject, the bomb happens, but Clayface is caught in the middle of it, but he is Clayface, so he pulls himself together. Then we switch to the third scene of the Justice League members. Every single one of them, where a truck was being saved together with Sportsmaster, with Brick and a mysterious bearded fellow. Justice League of Aquaman, the Flash, who I still think is voiced by James Arnold Taylor. By the way, I do not like that. I preferred Greg's voice, but then again, I guess he didn't want to come back, so it makes sense. And I guess Captain Marvel, or I mean, wait a moment. There's no confirmation yet if this is Shazam or Captain Marvel, because if you don't remember, there has been some dispute, I guess, over the fact that Captain Marvel can no longer be called Captain Marvel because of, Marvel, whatever. So he has been called Shazam in a lot of other media, including video games ever since. So what I'm trying to say is he now called Shazam and not Captain Marvel? I mean, he was called Captain Marvel in the other 2 seasons. It would be pretty weird if he suddenly is called Shazam. And there's also another thing I have problem with his new name. Shazam is supposed to be his code word that turns him into, well, the champion of the earth. Shazam or Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call him. So what I'm trying to say is, if his name is Shazam, and Shazam is his commander words, how does that make sense? Who cares? Well, I care, but that's beside the point. So Sportmaster managed to take away the mysterious guy. And in the end, it's all revealed tied together as it revealed that every third group of the Outsiders... Oh, and by the way, they know that Barbara is crippled. Batman Incorporated and Justice League, together with a hologram version of Wonder Woman, ties everything together, revealing that every one of these third plots had an order. Although the Justice League happened first. Then happened Team Normal. And finally, Team Outsider. Basically, they started different wherever else. And also, Tigress, Artemis confronted her sister, who is revealed to not be working for the shadows anymore. But she doesn't even know who is deciding it, but says something about you'll find the answer at that place. But she's not seeing her daughter because, well, she is a supervillain, or so to speak. However, despite everything that is tied together, it's revealed that the mysterious guy in every single one of these scenarios was Shade, controlled by Simon Stgagg, who also have had his metagene human thing. He was arrested thanks to the evidence that Barbara had managed to do, but the Shade was controlled by Simon Stgagg, Cheshire freed him, so to speak. This version of Shade is a lot more powerful than he was in Justice League. But he confronts Simon Stgagg in the cell, and it's unknown what happens to him after that. Presumably he dies. And I have to complain if he dies. You'll know soon why. You know why soon. But the episode do not end so well, as Diana, despite everything that they have done, do not like the situation. A lot of the Leaguers are kept in the dark. A lot of the Outsiders are kept in the dark. And a lot of Batman Incorporated, perhaps, is in the dark. Because they're doing things illegally, so to speak. As Batman says, would you expect Superman to lie under oath? And he hopes that if Wonder Woman gets captured, she will use her diplomatic immunity or whatever. No, not immunity, her ambassadoring as Themyscira Princess. Batman is getting very dark this season. Sorry but I slur my words. So yeah, I'm just saying. The fallout that the gang was joking about in last episode of Evolution may happen after all. Because I don't think Superman is gonna like being kept in the dark. As Wonder Woman says, they are basically the darkness. And technically I would consider darkness not to be evil. But they are doing some things. Everything is going in Vandal Savage plan. So this was a dark episode with a very political one in this scenario. I liked, everything tied together. Team Normal was pretty cool as well. I think Mae Whitman voiced Spoiler. And I don't know who voiced Arrowette though. But that orphan girl, who is she? I don't recognize her. But I liked the episode. But the Dread, I'm not sure. I don't know if it was better than the last episode. But I digress. You give me your thoughts if you have any.